Southeastern Michigan in early childhood space. We're having a discussion today all about child care programs and services. Access to quality childcare is necessary for families to thrive and is so critical to children's well-being. A few reminders for today's discussion. We hope to have some time for a few questions from the audience. So please put your questions in the chat box if you're watching on Zoom, or into the comment section if you're joining us from Facebook. Closed captions are enabled in Zoom and Facebook Live. So to turn them on, please click on the Show Captions button at the bottom of your screen. So I'd like to introduce our presenters for today. Crystal Johnson, she currently serves as the Director of Early Childhood Initiatives here at United Way for Southeastern Michigan. She has been passionately supporting families and early childhood educators here for more than 11 years. She holds a bachelor's of social work and is well-versed in early childhood excellence and best practices. For fun, Crystal enjoys a competitive game night with family and friends that includes endless laughter and unlimited snacks. That sounds good to me, Crystal. And also joining us today, we've got Dr. Jolene Andriashko, and Dr. Jolene has been in the early childhood nonprofit field for over 20 years. She has experience in administering large early childhood programs, most recently as the Deputy Director for a $10 million Head Start grant in Southeastern Michigan. She oversaw the Early Head Start, GSRP, Early Head Start home visiting, and maternal home visiting, early childhood home visiting programs. Additionally, she worked directly with providers as a quality improvement consultant on the Race to the Top grant. Dr. Andriashko is also the NAEYC editor, published peer-reviewed journal author, and serves on the governing board for the Michigan Association for the Education of Young Children. And Jolene plays the guitar for fun. So we want to welcome both of you here today, and we thank you for being with us to share information about what's happening in the childcare sector. So Crystal and Jolene, take it away.
Thank you. Good morning, Audrey. Thank you again for having me on today. I'm so pleased to be here to share some resources for parents and caregivers of young children. So first up, why United Way is in this space? Well, we understand here at United Way that the early childhood ecosystem is quite broad, and we ultimately want to ensure that children are in stable households and that they're thriving. And in order to support children in their efforts to thrive, we recognize that those adults that play such a critical role in their lives need the necessary resources to be able to do so. And we provide levels of support based on these respective roles. So as was mentioned, access to high quality childcare for children 0 to 5 is quite important. It's important for our economic development. It's important for their intellectual and social emotional development. And because of these factors, we've provided one support in particular for families in Wayne County to get connected to childcare programs. So we have our connectforcarekids.org, and connectforcarekids.org allows, again, families in Wayne County that may be looking for childcare or inquiring about childcare for their young children ages 0 to 5 to do a search on the site to find childcare programs. Now we've designed the site in a way that it's first for them to check to see what affordable childcare programs they might be eligible for. So these would include Early Head Start, the Great Start Readiness Program, which is the state's free 4-year-old program, 4-year-old preschool program, as well as the state subsidy, which Dr. Jolene will talk about a little bit more shortly. So with some basic information about the family, like the child's age, the family size, gross income, families can learn in just a few seconds what options might be available to them. They can search for licensed child care programs, both centers and homes throughout Wayne County at a location that may be most convenient for them. So that could be work, home, school, or whatever. Families can also complete a quick form if they choose that can be sent directly to providers that are within their area that they might be eligible for those child care educators to follow back up with them regarding open seats that may be available at their program and or any next steps in the process. It's an easy and convenient way for families to look for childcare without the inconvenience of having to travel to multiple sites to see if they have a program that will be suitable for the families and or calling multiple sites over and over again to determine whether or not they have what they need. So we certainly encourage families to visit Connect for Care Kids if they're thinking about childcare or considering or actually are currently in need of that. In addition to all the steps that we have and information we have about getting them connected to a child care provider, we also have a resources tab on connectforcarekids.org so that families can conveniently locate additional supports that might be available to them as well. It is available, connectforcarekids.org is available 24 hours a day. And the site is also mobile friendly, it's text friendly as well. And families can also call a representative if they prefer. And the number for Connect for Care Kids is 313-395-3776. Now, again, Connect for Care Kids is available for families within Wayne County. But if you're a family and you're outside of Wayne County, there's still help available. If you would like to do a search for childcare, we encourage you to visit greatstarttoquality.org and click on Find Programs to begin your search. So again, the parents play a critical role in the lives of these young children, but the child care educators or providers, as they're sometimes called, or even caregivers, play an essential role as well. And United Way is committed to supporting these educators and caregivers by providing access to knowledge of the highest quality standard in this field. And we do so with our professional development training classes. We understand that it is a key component to ensuring early childhood educators have the knowledge they need on the latest best practices in this field and operate to the highest standard. So our professional development classes that are offered through United Way and our partners are at no cost for a broad number of participants with a wide level of comprehensive training and includes emerging best practices and topics such as literacy, social and emotional development, inclusive practices in child care programs, and so much more. In addition to our training classes, there are opportunities for early childhood professionals to receive certifications and credentialing in this field. I'm gonna get it out eventually. So there's so much more opportunities for these providers and educators that are working in this field. And for those that wish to learn more about how you can take advantage of these training opportunities, you can visit miregistry.org, miregistry.org, or call our Wayne Oakland Macomb Resource Center at 877-614-7328. We would love for you to take our training classes with us. And finally, something that providers of all types, whether you're a parent or you're a child care educator, you're a grandparent, something that you can take advantage of is our Ready for K texting curriculum. United Way is so pleased to partner with Parent Powered to be able to offer Ready for K for those that are working with or have significant interactions with young children. So research has shown that economically disadvantaged children hear 30 million fewer words at home by age 4. And we want to help bridge this gap, and Ready for K is a tool to help us do that. It is at no cost to families or those that participate, and you simply receive a text message 3 times a week with easy to use activities with things you have right there with you. And it helps to build that relationship between the adult and the child, and also builds reading levels for the young children. So for example, each week you would receive a fact, a tip, and a growth that's based around the child's age and their development. And the goal is that as the week progresses, the information kind of builds on one another. So for example, a fact might be your child enjoys learning by looking at pictures. And then by the second text that you would receive, it may be, oh, we encourage you to show a book cover to your child to describe what they think the story may be about. And then by the third fact, as you're reading the story, the tip would encourage you to allow the child to take a peek at the pictures so they can describe what may happen next throughout the story. And it encourages children to remain engaged, and it builds that rapport with the adult and child as well. So we encourage anyone, again, that spends significant time with young children to sign up. It's for 0 to 5. It's in multiple languages. It's so easy and nothing for you to do other than sign up. After that, all you do is read the tip and go for what you know. So we encourage you to send the text to 70138 so that you can get started with our Ready for K. So United Way for Southeastern Michigan is committed to our youngest, most vulnerable community members and wants to ensure that each of these children can actually thrive. Of course, we provide Connect for Care Kids for families to be able to locate childcare. We provide the training classes for our educators to ensure they have the latest and up-to-date information to be able to support these children and families. And then we have our Ready for K, which is available for all to get that additional tip at no cost to them. So we're committed to supporting these families and adults in multiple ways. We are also committed to keeping our community at large informed about matters related to early childhood. So Dr. Jolene is here today to share a little bit more with you about the early childhood funding cliff. Dr. Jolene, please take it away.
Thank you, Crystal. Good morning. My name is Dr. Jolene Andriashko, and I'm a manager in the Early Childhood Department here at United Way for Southeastern Michigan. And I am here this morning to share about the Child Care Funding Cliff. So first, to understand the Child Care Funding Cliff, we need to know how it came to be. So we'd refer to the American Rescue Plan, also known as ARPA. You may have heard that term before. The American Rescue Plan Act was passed in 2021 and gave states close to $40 billion in federal emergency relief funds for childcare in response to COVID-19, which proved a much needed lifeline for many childcare providers. ARPA stabilization, while the pandemic sent childcare into crisis, ARPA stabilization funds prevented it from collapsing. $24 billion in relief funds were distributed across the nation and served 220,000 childcare providers, saved the jobs of more than 1 million early childhood educators, and enabled continued care for as many as 9.6 million children. The investment from the ARPA stabilization was that the funds were the largest investment in childcare in American history and helped childcare providers to pay for rent and mortgage, utilities, and higher wages, and to invest in increased health and safety measures during the pandemic. That brings us to the funding cliff. So ARPA funds will expire this month, and this will lower the amount of childcare development and subsidy that childcare providers receive. And so that's what we're going to talk about next. So you may be wondering, what is a CDC subsidy? What is child care? What is child development and care subsidy? So it's a program that offers payment assistance for childcare services and families. Families can apply for CDC assistance, and this subsidy provides minimal to no cost childcare for families to pay for childcare tuition, which in Michigan averages $9,000 annually for home-based providers and over $12,000 annually for Senate-based providers. Payments are made through the CDC program directly to childcare providers on the behalf of families. Next slide, please. So you may be wondering, as a parent, what can I do? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to talk to your childcare provider. Always work on having a great relationship with your childcare provider and ask them, will there be any implications to the childcare funding cliff as it relates to my child attending childcare or any childcare fees? So we recognize at United Way for Southeastern Michigan that there is an ongoing challenge to find childcare in our area. And if you should find yourself impacted in any way, please feel free to reach out to 211. And now I will pass it over to Audrey.
Great. Thank you so much for both of you sharing the latest updates in the childcare sector. And now we'll have time to take a couple of questions. So for the audience, if you want to add your questions in the chat box, we'll do our best to get to them. And one of the questions that we had, and first of all, I just want to say thanks so much for sharing the information. I use the Ready for K text messages. I think I've used them for first grade to now we're in sixth grade. I was surprised that it went all the way up to sixth grade, but even the one in particular last week talked about talking to your sixth grader and how they feel in social situations. And we usually talk about them when we're in the car on the way to school and back. So I just wanted to put in a personal plug for the Ready for K program. But we did have a question here talking a little bit about working in the early childhood section. And if someone is interested about learning more about working in the early childhood industry or interested in taking some classes, how would they go about signing up? And then what is the cost to some of these programs as far as the registry goes as well?
Okay, thank you, Audrey, for that Ready for K plug. And I will say, because I didn't say, Ready for K goes up to 8th grade. So you
There
have a
we
couple
go.
more years to actually receive those text messages.
Okay.
So we're glad to hear it. Yep, 0 all the way to 8th grade. So yes, regarding those that are interested in the field, first of all, I want to say we would love to have you. The early childhood sector needs more people that are dedicated and committed to our youngest little community members. So we certainly want them in the field. They can reach out to our Wayne Oakland Macomb Resource Center. That number was on the, I don't know, third or fourth slide. And I know it's in the chat as well, the 877 number. 877-614 something. So they can reach out to the Wayne Oakland Macomb Resource Center to get connected to our classes, as well as if they're interested in learning more about the field. That would be a good start to get them on their way. As far as the cost, there's no fee for classes that are offered through United Way and our Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb Resource Center. The My Registry platform is a statewide platform, so that's where all training classes go for early childhood professionals. So there are some classes in My Registry where there is a cost or a fee for them. Our classes are not. We are so grateful for all that we have here with United Way and our Resource Center to be able to offer these classes at no cost to our Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb providers. So we certainly encourage you to take advantage. And again, if you have trouble with navigating My Registry and finding the classes with under our particular resource center, again, call the 877 number. It's a quick fix and we can get you connected and even get you signed up to receive our calendars on a monthly basis, so you'll know when our classes are being offered.
Perfect. Okay, we've got the information in the chat too. And just a couple of other questions coming through here too. I know obviously we talked about Ready for K text messages, but we had a question about how does it work if a parent has multiple children in one household or different ages, and would you be getting texts for all of them?
That's a great question, and we do, and you can. So what happens is if a parent has up to 3 children, we recommend no more than 3 children that you receive a text for. You would receive all 3 text messages, so the fact, the tip, and the growth for child A on Monday. On Wednesday, you would receive for child B the fact, the tip, and the growth. And again, on Friday, which are the 3 days that our text messages go out, you also will receive it for child C. If you have more than 3 children, we love big families with Ready for K. We just ask that another parent sign up, because then it becomes overwhelming. So another parent or primary caregiver or significant adult in that child's life enroll. So an alternate phone number, sign up for Ready for K for the additional children. But yes, that's how that works. And that's a great question.
And then regarding the Connect for Care kids, that's specifically for Wayne County residents. Are there other resources available for people across our region in Oakland and Macomb counties and across the state as well that you can share with us?
Yes, if they are looking for childcare, then the additional resource would be for searching for childcare will be greatstarttoquality.org. So families outside of Wayne can use greatstarttoquality.org to begin their search. Again, connectforcarekids.org does have additional resources related to early childhood outside of just finding care. So if they're just looking for additional resources and want to see what may be available to them, they can certainly visit connectforcarekids.org and click on the resources tab.
All right. And then I would just want to know from both of you, what do you think is the most important thing to know about childcare in the childcare sector currently?
I think the most important thing to know is that there are resources available, such as 211, Connect for Care Kids, Great Start to Quality. If there's providers out there, we also have the Great Start to Quality resource centers that Crystal mentioned, where you can call the 877 number, which I see is in the chat now again. And that's also an extension of Great Start to Quality.
Okay, let's try unmuting again. I would have to echo Dr. Jolene in saying that, yes, there are certainly resources available. Help is here. People care. This field is so valuable. It's so important when we say these are our youngest and most vulnerable community members, it's so true. Like life wouldn't be life without these young children. So it's such an important field. United Way certainly cares, and there are so many entities that care and support these adults that have to care for these young children. So there's hope. I would just say that there's hope. It's a lot of work that needs to be done as far as more providers, more programs, more supports, but we're working well with what we have, and there's hope. There's hope for families, and there's hope for caregivers that have these little ones that need so much of us.
Yeah. And as we were talking about some different benefits and funding that's available, are there any other credits or funding that's happening right now when you open a child care center at your house?
Ooh, so there will be some funding opportunities that are coming. I can't throw out anything right now this second, and Dr. Jolene may know of something that's readily available right now, but there could be some opportunities that are approaching. So definitely stay connected with us. Visit United Way's website, certainly Connect for Care Kids. Yeah, be on the lookout, because there will be opportunities in the upcoming future as far as being able to support that, because we need that. We would encourage programs to expand or open new programs just so that all of the children in our regional area can have access to quality care. So be on the lookout.
All right. And when we were talking about the CDC subsidy earlier, there's a question that has come in that says, what if a child care provider doesn't know about the CDC subsidy, and then how would they get that information?
Okay. Yes, Dr. Jolene.
I believe they would learn about it through the Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay.
However, if that information isn't correct, I would say to reach out to the local resource center about that information.
Okay, great. And then just finally here, as we're closing up, how does the quality of childcare impact the well-being of young children and families? Because that's really what we're talking about here, right? If you want to share a little bit of your thoughts around that.
Well, quality early childhood care, preschool, it affects children for a lifetime. And then there's studies that show that children who attend any kind of quality childhood program have better outcomes in life. They're going to do better in K through 12 programs and then beyond. So it helps prepare them for later social emotional success, academic success. And by having staff out there that are trained to meet your child's needs and choosing high quality care, you're investing in your child's future.
I wish I could say it better than that, but I can't. You know, Dr. Jolene, she stole the thunder on that. Like it's everything. It's everything. She stole it. I echo that. Ditto.
All right. Well, we really want to thank you both so much for joining us today, and just thank you for all the work that you're doing for our community and continue to do over the years in support of our young children and their families, in really answering these questions about childcare for us. So before we close, I do have a few more updates for our audience here as well. Just wanted to share a reminder for everyone in our community who may be experiencing a need. Our 211 helpline remains available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this includes getting connected to resources like food, utilities assistance, childcare, and much more. So we always maintain a running list of available services in the community and can connect you to the support you need. You can also look up resources in your area by using our 211 resource database at unitedwaysem.org/211. Also, if you're looking for ways to volunteer in the community, we have several ways you can do that. And our United Way volunteer portal can help you. It's an online portal that lets you search for volunteer opportunities that best match your abilities, needs, and interests. So it even lets you set up alerts for the types of volunteer projects or organizations that you care about most. You can visit unitedwaysem.org/volunteer to get started with volunteering. And then finally, our next town hall and our next What's the Word Wednesday will focus on stories of resilience and community care of immigrant families and recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month. So please be sure to tune into that town hall and more coming up to stay updated on our upcoming topics and watch replays of previous town halls. Please visit unitedwaysem.org/virtual town halls. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We hope to see you soon. Please stay safe and continue to live united.